Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Matthew here on Christmas Day, returning for part two of the My Favorite Hasbro tournament. Now, the first tournament video didn't go quite as expected. Unfortunately, I didn't get as many matches in as I would have liked, especially for the amount of time that the video ran for. Realistically, we only had four matchups. You know, a lot of customs going against their original counterpart in that first video. Now, I do have a lot of customs remaining for the rest of the Series 1 figures, but once we get to the last four figures, you're going to have your normal one-on-one matchups, and then we'll move on to Series 2. Now, when I did close out the last video, I mentioned the different matchups we're going to be looking at. What I forgot to talk about was Rick Rude off to the side there. Oddly enough, I actually had Rick Rude on my list as the worst Hasbro of all time. A lot of it has to do with this arm punching motion. This figure, it reminds me so much of the Galoob Ron Simmons, you know, with the hand fist basically attached to his, fused to his chest. And, you know, when you look at like LJN, Vince McMahon, you know, he's got the microphone and his hand is fused to his chest. And I'm not a huge fan of that. At least with the Hasbros, you do have that little bit of space in between, so it's not completely, you know, fused there. But this right here, I'm not a fan of that. That's terrible. And even worse, basically they get these little holes in the arm, you know, in order to do that motion. So I'm not a fan of that overall. Face-wise, sure, you know, that's Rick Rude, no doubt. Waist down, I really like it. I like the colors of the pants and legs of the boots of the figure. You know, I'm a fan. Kind of like Jake Roberts. I think Jake Roberts, you know, from the waist down is a good looking figure. I just don't like that whole arm punching motion action that he has. And this little give him in a headlock, punch him in the face type deal. I'm not a huge fan of the Rick Rude figure. So, kind of like putting Rick Rude as my least favorite LJN and then putting him as my least favorite Hasbro. I don't know what it is about Rick Rude that people don't like because they keep giving him some of the worst action figures. So, I do have a number of figures here that sometimes I cut out these little name tags from the box when they come in. And I like to put them inside the little protective case just so I can remember which figure came from who. This one I want to say came from Derek. Obviously, because I'm filming this episode right after the first episode, I haven't had a chance to go back and find the seller, his eBay screen name. And again, I plan on putting that in the comments section, so if anyone wants to check out his page, see his different customs. So he did this one, and he did a really fantastic job. I mean, I love the yellow pants. I mean, even the pink of the boots, I think is really awesome. So you did see Rick Rude quite frequently wearing these little championship belts around his waist. That's not intended to be a championship belt. It actually is part of the design of the pants, which is awesome. And, you know, he has his face on the back of the pants here. So normally, whenever Rick Rude is going up against an opponent, let's say Ultimate Warrior, for example, he'll have the face of the Ultimate Warrior on the back of his pants. And I kind of think of that as, you know, that's his way of telling Ultimate Warrior to kiss his butt, essentially. But that's pretty awesome that he had those little extra attributes, design-wise, to the figure. The next couple figures are both Robert Jackson figures. The first one, which I really like, again, there really is no bad Robert Jackson figure. So this one, they take the design, they give him these little, I call it American colors, because, oh, nope, that's not blue, that's purple. Nope, that's fine. Either way, little lips, like, you know, I was talking about, kiss my butt type of deal. And there it is, sure enough. So he does have a face. I don't remember her name. So Robert was telling me that Rick Rude was squaring off against, I believe it was Jake Roberts, if I'm not mistaken. And you know how like I said, how he always has the face of his opponent on his pants. So what they did was put Jake Roberts' wife's face on his pants. Now, given the location of his face, and considering that this is, the man's wife, I even if as a scripted show, I still can't believe that Jake Roberts would have allowed that to happen. So that was kind of interesting. Same thing, nothing other, extraordinary about the figure. Beautiful tattoo. I don't know if the others were showing that. Nope. So this figure is unique in that aspect as well. So that's pretty awesome. The last one, again, is a figure from Robert Jackson. Let me take off this belt here. So this one is one I really gravitate towards. And the reason I do that is because, like I said, you'll find matches where Ultimate Warrior is squaring off against, Macho Man or something. And then you'll see Rick Rude come out, kind of walk around the ring, strutting, and then showing off, his biceps and abs and whatnot. And he's got the face of Ultimate Warrior on the backside because, they squared out for a championship. So everything from the design of the Ultimate Warrior's face, even throwing in the championship belt right up front. Pink, obviously I'm not a huge fan of pink, but, sometimes, with the right clothing, it works really well. Absolute beauty. I've been saying it in the last video that Derek and his figures were just running away with this competition so far. His figures won all 4 matches in the first video. But finally I get to push a Robert Jackson figure forward. This one is absolutely amazing. Robert Jackson's Rick Rude moves on to round 2. I'll make sure I get the right championship belts on the right figure. And like I said, the championship belt, even that added accessory, really makes the figure pop even more. Truly remarkable. Alright, so the next matchup, once I get this last championship belt on, is going to feature Demolition. So I do possess one custom figure for each member. So this will not be a drawn-out scene for these particular characters. Both customs did come from Robert Jackson, of course. So we are going to start with, among Demolition, Smash. So Smash is actually, or the Demolition as a tag team in general, are actually a couple of the best looking aesthetically, figures of the entire Hasbro line. Everything from face paint to little straps and stuff that connect the overall design of the uniform with trunks, boots, everything. This is just an absolutely gorgeous piece. Somehow, in the early days of my channel, somewhere in the 30s, I did, favorite tag teams. And I think I had Demolition towards the bottom. Now, Demolition in real life I don't have like an extensive recollection of the tag team, but I have enough, I think, where I would never rate them, that low based on the tag teams Hasbro produced. And again, I absolutely love their figures, so I don't understand why I rated them so low. Kind of surprising. So a lot of these figures, they have like these little arm uppercut motions. With Hasbro, 99% of the figures are recycled. They take these bodies, they keep using it, and I think this one was modeled after Ted DiBiase in Series 1, and then there's so many others that have come after where they have this little uppercut punch. Beautiful design. And of course, what makes these guys special, even more special, is the little, help if I gave them the right way. We'll give them these little Demolition hats, helmets, which are pretty spectacular. I think this right here was actually a custom. I don't know if this one was the original, but they look identical, so who really cares? And of course, on the back wall, I've got the Demolition carded anyway, so technically I do own an original, regardless if this is a custom. So, the Smash custom from Robert Jackson overall, nothing changing to the actual from the neck down. The exact same figure. No change in the color scheme. He did alter the face paint just enough to make it unique, to make it his own. As much as I love the gray paint and everything, I'm thinking for the first time in, 6 matches, and an original figure is going to move forward. And like I said, just getting something that's different, that's his own unique take on the figure, that's pretty special. And the same is true for the the Axe figure. Let me get him out here. So before we show that, once again we've got Axe from Demolition, Series 1. I kind of remember these guys being on dual card, but they weren't. In Series 1 back in 1990, they were released on single card. It's not until you get to Series 2 when you start getting the duplicates, the Rockers and the Bushwhackers, and Demolition with Smash and Crush. I actually do have a Crush single card. I think Smash on single card right now is selling for like $300 or something. And, I could say, well, I have Crush and Smash together, so I do have him on card per se. So just getting this guy on single card, again, a $200 figure on card, it's ridiculous. So, again, this guy has a pose after so many. British Bulldog, Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan. They all have like this, this body press, function. Lift them up, bam, throw them down, type of deal. From Robert Jackson. This one is kind of like a LJN from XOX Customs version, where they take the Axe figure and they change the red face. They give him the gray face paint. So that's pretty awesome right there. And what I think they did here is just alter the so all I did was change really the black, or change the red to black on one side. I mean, nothing huge, no huge changes to the Demolition figures. And I've always said, even the smallest detail change is enough for me to consider that to be its own unique figure. I don't know, I really like both of these. And is that one difference in face paint really going to make that much of a difference overall on the design of these figures? Yeah, I think for the sake of this battle, I am going to go with the Robert Jackson custom. I think that change in color, it might be as simple as it might be. I think it's just enough to put it over the top. So Robert Jackson's Axe defeats the original custom, or the original figure. And if I can get him back in his display case. Alright. The next battle, now at least from Series 1, this is going to be the last comparison between original and custom. So far, Rick Rude and Demolition, neither one of these figures, none of these figures, I didn't have any of them as a kid. A figure I did have as a kid that got massive play was the Series 1 Ultimate Warrior. Obviously, when it pushed forward to Series 2 and you got the arm press motion, I covered that Ultimate Warrior, a whole lot more. That one pretty much took over as the new Ultimate Warrior for play. Aesthetically, this is still a really good looking figure. Good paint job all around, great face paint, even little tassels around the boots. This is a beautiful figure. The only thing that makes this a less than ideal figure, it makes no sense. I hate the fact that they do these little fuse legs type of deal. It kills me. They even did the same thing with Kamala. Like, where do you see Kamala jumping off the top turnbuckle, or doing like a fly. I don't know what you call that, but basically flying at someone. The Rockers make sense. Ultimate Warrior, nah. But Kamala, come on. Again, this is a really good figure. Obviously not elite among the Ultimate Warrior figures, let alone any of the others, but it's still special because it is one I had from childhood. The first custom that we are looking at, you guessed it, comes from Robert Jackson. And everything, we'll start with the belt. His belts are some of the most special and remarkable pieces. And what I like about these, they don't use plain foam. He used felt or something inside the belt. So yeah, the outside is like what a lot of other folks do. They use these laminate type of belts and whatnot. Me personally, I still prefer the WCW glue belts over these type of belts. But I think Robert does a lot better job with the make of his belts. I like the felt more than the foam. I think it's a lot stronger, and I think it'll give you a lot more of a better grip or hold around the waist. So, something I don't think I noticed before, or maybe I did, I just don't remember. On his trunks, you actually see the word Warrior. That's pretty awesome. He does have one of the best face paints of any figure that I've seen. And even something as simple as, the change of wristbands. Obviously they change up the trunks, they change up the boots. It's enough to make this a special figure. I think among the Hasbro customs, this might actually be the most expensive Hasbro figure I ever bought. I'm trying to think if there's any others. No, one of the Hasbro mail-away figures, I paid $75 for a Hulk Hogan version, which I actually got another one from Robert Jackson. I sent him a Series 3. He painted it up gazillion times better than you'll ever find from that crap I bought before. But we'll look at that when the time comes. So I think I paid $50 for this, or 55, 45, somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, it's a Warrior, and it's a custom, and it's spectacular. And why not give your business to someone who deserves it? So, and to own this was really special. So I am going to put this figure. So for the sake of this particular matchup between the original and the first custom, yes, I am pushing custom number 1. He is right in line right now to move forward to round 2. But we don't stop there, because Rob also came out with a secondary Ultimate Warrior Series 1 figure. Once again, another championships belt. Now this one I like because this is like the 91 Royal Rumble type of Ultimate Warrior, where he's decked out in American colors, American flag colors. And what is this? I don't know if that's Warrior. At first I thought it was kind of like Rick Rude on the back for that matchup, but I think that's actually Warrior's face. I don't know. This is kind of a hard one because I love the difference of this figure. It's unique. It's not anything that you'd really find on the market. It's not something that a lot of people, or it's not a color scheme that a lot of people would use. But like I said before, I always covet, figures that are modeled after design of a uniform, or something that they wore in the ring. And I remember this type of design. Paint job, everything is it's beauty. As much as I do love this version, yes, I think I am going to stick with the first Ultimate Warrior custom from Robert Jackson to push forward into round 2. And I kind of feel like these figures are going to be just like the LJN, where most of, or a good chunk of, the first round are basically reviewing a lot of the originals and customs. But once you're second round starts up, that's when you're really going to have your real matches, because you're going to have very few one-on-one matches. A lot of this stuff is going to be custom on original, so you are going to see probably more figures, or just as many figures in round 2 than you are in the first round. Alright, so this one up, put this one up. These next 2 or next 4 figures are singles. That means you are going to have legitimate one-on-one battles. So the first battle we're going to feature are a couple of my absolute favorite characters of all time. Mega Powers, Hulk Hogan, and Macho Man. So Randy Savage, to me, I never had this figure as a kid. The first time I ever saw it was when I started collecting Hasbros last year. Today, this is, it depends on who you're buying it from. It could be as low as $15, or you could end up paying as high as $40, $45 for this particular figure. Even though this is a duplicate, this is, I think, mint or very close to it. I mean, this is pretty spectacular. Very good looking figure. Maybe a top 20 Hasbro in my opinion. He didn't quite crack my top 10 when I did my list way back in like April or whenever I did that list. But I'm pretty sure there are a ton of folks out there who would have this Macho Man figure on their top 10 list. And everything from design, which looks great, to even the fighting pose is absolutely spectacular. One of the main reasons why I still choose Hasbro over LJN as my favorite line, I don't care so much about the feet, but this right here, you know, you could take a bad figure with a bad pose. If you had an LJN pose like that, you're basically created a Harley race, and it's an unplayable figure. But you do this, and all of a sudden, you got that punch scheme, you got that clothesline, you got that beautiful body slam. This up and down attribute of the Hasbro line, I've always said it, that is all you had to do, and you create these perfect figures. I think if someone ever came back and like took the actual LJNs, transformed them from rubber form to, you know, even hard plastic like this. Well, this is not really hard plastic, more of a soft plastic, but turn them into plastic figures, I think those things would sell like crazy. And I'm not even talking about adult collectors. I'm talking about, you know, your modern day kids. It doesn't have to be, you know, again, modern wrestlers. You can go back to, you know, 1970s, 1980s, early 1990 characters, and it still appeal to a lot of kids today. Absolutely fantastic. So, I think the Macho Man might be a better figure than Hulk Hogan. I like the pose better, although this Hulk Hogan is one of the characters I did have as a kid. He's one of the 2 Hogans I had as a kid. And I've said it before, you know, Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, British Bulldog, a million others. They all have like these arm poses where they're doing like this little body slam and you drop the arms, bam, throw them down. It looks so much better in the commercials than it does in real life for actual play. But Hulk Hogan, absolute beauty all around. You know, as a kid, I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure my mom probably hated my guts because what do? You're not strong enough to rip your shirt, so you get a pair of scissors, you cut a little tiny hole right in your shirt, and then every now and then you become Hulk Hogan and just tear up. And I'm sure I've done that to like a number of my shirts as a kid. You're talking about 2 of my all-time favorite characters. I think Hogan at number 1. I think Macho Man is right behind Warrior at number 3. So this is a tough one. You don't want to lose, you know, 2 really good figures or lose 1 really good figure right off the bat here. And I'm just gonna have to put Macho Man down, guys. Is this Hogan gonna win the competition? I think among the 4 different Hulk Hogan figures, this would either be my first or second favorite. Maybe Series 3 would be a better figure because of the, you know, closed hands and whatnot. But Hulk Hogan defeating Macho Man here in round 1. The last matchup, for whatever reason, I have this one still in its original bag. I got a lot of these duplicates, so it don't really matter. But it's going to pit Andre the Giant against Akeem. I did not have either of these figures as a kid. Man, I would have died to have Andre the Giant from childhood. Just imagine all the Hulk Hogan Andre the Giant matches. So, I don't know if you guys can see, probably can't, but so I got on this back door a lot of Hasbro carded figures, and of course my carded Hasbros run up, pretty much around the wall, going all the way up the stairs. So right above this door, I have a lot of Zombie Sailor Heel vs. Faces Series 1. I am holding off on making that video for that first series until I get a Cebu variant in. I ordered it a ton of months ago, still waiting for it to come in. And I think Series 2 is already shipped, so those are doing as well. So at some point in January, again, depending on whether or not I get the figures, I will plan to do those videos as well. It does have a really absolutely phenomenal Andre the Giant figure, so I'm really excited to talk about that as well. Overall play pose, I love that fact that they give him like these big hands. When I look at that hand, it looks like a paw to me, like an American Werewolf in London when David's going through his transformation scene and his hand starts growing out like in werewolf size. Every time I look at the hand, that's exactly what that reminds me of. And you always figure like choke slam or something. Truly amazing. This Akeem, when I bought this figure, this one came in a plastic bag. I got this from a toy store. 99% of what I buy action figure wise comes from eBay, but it was relatively cheap. Well, nope, this has a price tag of $18 on it, but I don't think I paid that. Anyways, his body kind of sinks down a little bit. Play wise, either one of these figures are absolutely fantastic. Good pose. I do like the fact that Akeem does have like these closed fists, which is better for punching and whatnot. Clothesline. Open hands does work on occasion, and like I said, for this particular Andre figure, it gives you that nice choke slam. So why would you not like that? This little action where he kind of like bending back, he headbutts the guy. Some poses or some actions are obviously more copacetic for play than others, and it's Andre the Giant, guys. I think this is one of the best looking Hasbros of the entire line, but how do you pass on an absolute legend like Andre the Giant? A million times over, I said it during my LJN tournament, you're supposed to be focusing on the figures themselves. Personal history with the figures, personal history of how you feel about a character. None of that is supposed to play a role. But it's like with the Sid Vicious LJN from Random Treasures. How do you not put history or, how does that not play a role in your decision? Would Sid Vicious have made it into the finals if that weren't the case? Would he have defeated Big Boss Man in the semifinals? The perfect Galoob figure, it was one of the best LJNs out there, period. But yes, I do think in that particular case, that particular figure, history did have to play a role. Sometimes it's impossible not to let history. And I think with the Hasbros, a lot of these figures that I had as a kid, neither of these, obviously, but I think that does have to play, that personal history does have to play a role, and how you feel about a certain character. Either way, I still think Andre the Giant's better than Akeem, regardless, but I think that history or favoritism of the particular character will play an impact as we move forward in this tournament. Alright, so I am going to backtrack a little bit. So that 2 videos to complete the first series. Again, I was really expecting 1 video per series, but apparently that's not going to happen. So back from video 1, the gray suit Million Dollar Man defeated all the originals. Defeated the original and the other customs. The Fire Pants Jake Roberts defeated the other customs and original. The SWAT Vest or Flak Vest Big Boss Man defeated the other customs and the original. And the Bruce Beefcake with kind of like the LGN type color scheme on the pants defeated all the other customs and original. So for this video, custom Pink Pants Rick Rude moves on to round 2. Original Smash moves on to round 2. Custom Axe moves on to round 2. Where am I at? Custom Ultimate Warrior moves on to round 2. Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant move on to round 2. Man, it's going to suck to pit these two against each other if they square off in the next round. Just kind of looking at them, I really don't know who I would choose. I would have to go with history and say Hulk Hogan, but you know, that doesn't mean anything. Not when you're looking at two special characters and of course two really good figures overall. All right, so that is the completion of episode 2, the completion of the first series. I don't know how many custom figures I have for series 2. I don't want to make too many videos in one day, so I'll probably stop today and maybe come down here next weekend or something and make the next set of videos. I won't post one video every 3 days on this one. Right now the plan is probably 3 videos a week starting in 2023, and I plan on having like the Hasbros probably being my my Monday upload, perhaps. Maybe comparable LJNs on Wednesday or something, maybe Friday, and that way I have the whole weekend for those videos to run. Maybe Friday will be, I don't know, specialty shout-out videos or something. We'll see what happens. I keep saying that I'm running out of ideas, but then I keep coming up with these different things that videos I want to talk about. So maybe I'm not running out of ideas as much as I thought I was. But I'm going to close the video here, guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate it and your support. You guys are the best, and I truly believe it. Thanks again, and I will see you later. And goodbye for now.